My name is Adrian Nantchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So this podcast, Become Remarkable, is about finding people from all over the world, whether entrepreneurs or not, that are doing something remarkable with their life. Today I have with me Humberto, if I get his name, Quintanilla, to talk about what he's doing. So, Berto, please tell the world, who are you, what are you doing, what's your story, and what difference are you making in the world?
Perfect. Well, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to meet people who are committed towards bettering the world or doing a small or great good for others. So my story is it's complicated. I mean, I did not start with my startup right away, like wanting to be a millionaire or something. It just started with a desire and a pain. So my desire would be that I wanted to become a car designer because I am so in love with cars. I mean, I just admire them. I like to drive in cars or see cars since I was a children. So there I was in 2008. I had a lot of video games of cars, and I almost played them all day. Like I got back from school and I started to play these video games, right? So I was in 2008 in the airport from City of Mexico to Madrid because of a school trip, and I was so bored that I grabbed this magazine of cars, and I just started to page the magazine, right? And I found this article. And I believe it was not coincidence; it was providence. Since then I started to not believe in coincidence. Everything has a purpose. Everything is providence. If you take it the good way, maybe it's a good opportunity, maybe it's a bad opportunity, but nevertheless it's an opportunity. So this opportunity was the career of a car designer. I didn't know it existed. And to my misfortune, this career, car designer, which was so cool, so amazing, it wasn't on my country, in Mexico. So I was on my way to Madrid and then making a connection to Italy, to Rome. And one of the countries that had this career was Italy. So I thought, me, 16 years old, my thinking was, oh, okay, so I'm going to Rome. Perhaps I should study there also my career. So how am I gonna do that if I don't have a lot of money and I don't want to bear this to leave this to my parents, right? I wanted this for myself, so I'm gonna get it for myself. And I figured to study a career that would give me a lot of money. So things do not work that easy, right? But in that moment, in that airport, I decided to study international business to have enough money to pay me the career of car designer in Italy. So this decision led me to study this career of international business, and then I had this subject that was entrepreneurship. So in that subject, I started to think of a project that I could develop because that was the assignment. And I have tell you about the part of the desire part and then the pain part. So I always had trouble with change. I don't like to have change in my pocket. I don't like to have physical money. I just hate it. So I started to think of a way of getting rid of the money to make payments. And I thought in that time I like to wear a lot of bracelets, and I thought of a bracelet that you could use to make payments. So it was a simple idea. I believe that it was not the first idea, and there's a lot of payment solutions. But in Mexico, as you well know, we are still a developing country. So when you talk about cashless solutions, there's none. There's no option. There's no cashless option for us. So we have to depend greatly on cash, and then only few people have debit and credit. It's like 80% of people in Mexico depend on cash, and that's very bad. So I started with this project in 2014, and it started like a school project. I had co-founders that I started to recruit, but it was playful games, right? Nothing serious. So I started to believe in myself. I started to see that this problem was not only mine, but that people really have this cash dependency that make them that make them miss opportunities for investment. They miss opportunities for growing their capital and all of it because they have this fear that if they don't have their cash in their hands, they don't have power. They don't have the power of their money. So I started to work of where could I put my cashless solution, and I thought of events, festivals, schools, cafeterias, all of these options that could really use a cashless solution. So this project took form, and I incorporated the company, and now it's called Payzi. So basically, Payzi is this cashless platform for making payments without the use of cash. We put it on events, festivals, on schools, and we give the power to the people by going cashless. We can grow sales by 30% in events and festivals, and we give options of payments to the people. With Payzi, you can put your account, your debit or credit account, or in time, you could use Bitcoin as another form of payment. So that was how my startup got started, with the desire, my pain, and after that things just got a whole lot difficult because I had to find co-founders that were really committed in my journey, and that's where many entrepreneurs also quit their journey because maybe they have a good idea, but the co-founders just don't cut it. I had 4 co-founders that quit on me, and I was just alone. I'm 23 years old, and I already have white hair, and I shouldn't have, but it's a lot of stress. And if you don't find good co-founders, most likely entrepreneurs just quit, or the startup dies, or even worse, the startup becomes a zombie startup. That's the point where you're not moving, but you exist, and it's just painful to live and painful to watch. For me, things started to go better when I found this co-founders that were really committed to the journey, and my job that I had to do to make them committed was to share my belief. I have this strong power of belief that makes me win stuff or go to stuff and just don't quit. When you see people with this power of belief, they can make great things happen, and even in the worst conditions, they don't stop. For example, Elon Musk, it has the power of belief, and it's amazing. Their biggest, his heroes of cashless solution and other entrepreneurs, they said that they didn't believe that it was possible to make the electric car industry revive, let alone be profitable, and that people wanted. But he had this belief, this strong belief, and he founded Tesla, he founded Solar City. He had the idea for Hyperloop. And for me, this guy is like real life Tony Stark. So, yeah, the power of belief made me put up with bad things and just keep going. And
All
yeah,
right.
tell me.
Yeah, so a lot of cool stuff going on there, Berto. I'm just very curious. You said at the start that you don't believe necessarily in coincidence, and you believe everything has a purpose and everything has opportunity.
Yes.
I agree so as well, but I see it a little bit more like it is coincidence, and no matter what happens, what happens coincidentally, you're trying to use or trying to create the best out of the situation or learn the most out of this thing. But can you explain how you don't believe that it's coincidence? That you believe it is providence?
Providence.
Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, of course. I believe that. I said this because there are some opportunities that come by. Whether you see it or not, it's up to you. You have to have this very high sense of perception. For example, you go to a networking event and you talk to these people that he randomly approaches to you and starts to ask you about your startup, and you don't see nothing. I mean, he has no idea, he has no startup. So why would you be wasting your time talking to this person? Well, this person that I met, I just went with him, and now he's going to be my client. And it's a very good opportunity. He has a strong business going, and if I hadn't been nice to him, if I just scared him off, I would have missed this opportunity. So every coincidence that happens to you, you have to have the best attitude towards it, and choose whether you want to have this positive attitude or bad attitude, and take or leave the opportunity. Either choice is going to be fine.
Yeah, see, my approach to that is, this person that you approach or that comes to you, you never know what you're going to learn from them. You never know how they could help you. You never know what conversation or topic they might mention, and that could lead to new things worth exploring. Or you never know that this person might indicate a skill in something, and you can work with them. They might have a proficiency in something else, and you can hire them, things like that. The way I see it is to be open-minded, so as to always be looking for opportunity.
Of course.
Because you never know what could happen. Now, you also spoke about the power of belief. So, how do you think that someone could go about expanding their own belief?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. For me, I'm going to talk about how it worked for me to be to have the power of belief, I just traveled and met new people, new perspectives. So we're used to be around our social circles because we feel comfortable. We feel that we're fine talking to these people and that they accept us. But we lack the courage to get out of these social circles and start to make a new talk or have new friends because we are scared of the unknown. So when you when you have the courage to beat this fear, you start to meet new people, and some people have this perspective that is different from you, and you start to ask, well, why does this person things different than me? What is his judgment? What are the past events in their life that made them that way? So you start to open your mind, and you stop to have this prejudice, and you hear the ideas that drive these people. So when you start to talk to new people and you stop the prejudice and you open your mind, you collect all of these ideas and have this you have this strong combined idea that you grab for yourself, and then you use it to take on new events that happen in your life, new opportunities. So this set of combined ideas, this set of combining to a new view that you have, and this helps you to have a new belief or a stronger belief.
Yeah, I find one good way of expanding your belief is to get used to and be comfortable being uncomfortable, because as soon as you understand and recognise that as you are uncomfortable, you're expanding your comfort zone, and you're used to being in uncomfortable situations, and by always doing the uncomfortable, it becomes comfortable to you, and that helps to expand your comfort zone as well as to always be collecting new ideas from books, from podcasts, from videos, because as you collect new ideas, it goes into your brain, and you can use it to recognise opportunity, but also use it to act, because new knowledge gives you the confidence to then realise that what you believe, that you can then actually create and achieve, and your belief is not going to have any momentum unless it's got something to channel it in.
Of course,
to turn
something or someone.
Yes, yeah, and speaking of someone, actually, you mentioned the co-founder. By your definition, what is a good co-founder? What do they need? What are the good skills to have?
Okay, so they have to be for them to be a good co-founder. They have to have the ability to listen, learn new things, because when you recruit them, most probably they haven't been on a startup. They're used to a corporate world, and they have to be willing to learn new things, to really listen. They have to have different skills than yours, almost like the complete opposite that you are, so that you can absorb their ideas and also learn from your co-founder. They also have to be very proactive. They have to have the same speed that you have to either learn or unlearn. And I think that the bottom line is for them to not be douchebags.
Very straightforward. So you mentioned that Mexico is a developing country. So, in what's holding Mexico back then? What does Mexico need to develop in order to be a first world country or no longer a developing country? How far has Mexico got left to go and to grow? What needs to happen in Mexico?
We have to be a startup nation. Yeah, and that's something from a book that I read. It's called the Unstoppables. I don't recall the name of the author. Sorry, I will let you know when I can. But in this book, they talk about startup nations. So we know who was the first startup nation. It was the United States. The age of innovation, inventors. It was the first age of the startup people. And then it was Israel. Right now, Tel Aviv, it's called the new startup nation. And this is why, and it's a startup nation because they have power, they have people with the power of belief. They have serious issues that need to be resolved, and they don't wait for the government or the associations to resolve the problems. They take matters onto their own hands. So we have to have that. In Mexico, we have to be on the age of the startup people. And there are hubs of social innovation and hubs of entrepreneurship that are mainly on the three biggest cities of Mexico. These hubs of innovation and entrepreneurship are in the city of Mexico, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. So this new age of startups is it's beginning in this year, in 2016, 2017. We are seeing a lot of startups that are surfacing and trying to resolve problems that the government cannot or will not. But we need more people and we need more time.
So you say problems that the government will not or cannot tackle. What kind of problems are Mexico facing then?
Corruption and it's a lack of structures that work. So we try to build new associations, new initiatives, but they end up just postponing problems. I believe that the purpose of a social initiative is to eradicate the social problem, not prolonging the issue. So this social initiative has to resolve the problem and then stop existing. And that is not the case for Mexico.
All right, so what kind of social initiatives? I'm just very curious.
Poverty, for example, on education, financial inclusion, just to name a few.
I see. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, what do you think of the government then? Is it too small, too big? Because you mentioned corruption, so that to me indicates that there's a lot of crime, and that maybe taxes are too high, and taxes being too high prevents it from being a startup nation. And what about the culture as well in Mexico? Do people want to start businesses?
Not really. Well, let me first talk about the first point that you said. The corruption in Mexico involves way too many people doing nothing or doing too little and receiving high paychecks from unknown sources. So that would be it. Taxes are not too high, actually. it's on the low tier of taxes. If we compare to, for example, Norway. In Mexico, we have 16%, and Norway, they have 41%. So it's on the low tier. And yeah, the culture is actually needed to be a startup nation. We have more entrepreneurs than entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs, which are few, they're people that they're on their corporations, on their projects, and they try to do things differently. They try to innovate a new process. They're in charge of a new position that wasn't there, and they try their best to create something new, something of value. And the entrepreneurs are the ones who build something. They built a new company out of scratch. So I believe that we need more entrepreneurs, but a whole lot more entrepreneurs, and that they create a startup that brings value, not just do the same thing. They have to be disruptive. But sometimes being disruptive also means building a new product that no one really needs, or they don't know that they need it until they prove it. That is my case. For example, in Payzi, we built a product that people think they don't need it, but when they see it and they use it, they see the benefits of it, and then that we create this need, and it's a game changer.
Yeah, that's why I believe that when it comes to disrupting established industries, you want to follow the blue marketing strategy. Have you heard of the blue market strategy? The blue ocean. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, well, good. It's just that I think those kind of strategies, those kind of ways of looking at the world and tweaking and doing things differently, have always been that way. Just people do it that way always. Oh, no. Why not this way? Why not that way? Let's do it differently. Just to be different, just to be unique. But with regards to value, as you said, what are you working on now, and what is next for you?
Of course. Well, now I'm in 2 different projects. I'm in Payzi. I'm the CEO of Payzi. I'm also a co-founder in a 3D printing business. And with this 3D printing business, we're trying to create a different business model. We believe in building 3D hubs where anyone can access 3D printing. We break the barriers and paradigms of 3D printing by making it accessible in the form of pricing and location. So we're building this grid of 3D printing, and we hope to be a really good thing. Imagine building anything you want in 3D printing. It can be glasses. It can be, for example, I broke my arm and I just 3D print something for my arm, and in several years you can print your own organs, right? So that's amazing. And my new project, I'm an associate of a business similar to Amazon. We sell electronics in Mexico, and the company is called Lapson. So those are my new projects: Payzi, 3D Partner, and Lapson. And for me, I'm basically focused on developing these 3 projects, make them profitable, and to the point that they no longer need my leadership. I can just hire a better CEO. There's always someone better. So I can hire a new CEO and focus on my career of car designer. Hopefully I can start that soon and then focus on my hobbies. I like to play guitar. I like to play basketball, ping pong. And also I like crypto coins. For example, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Steemit. We met on Steemit. And these new coins that seem promising, Neo and IOTA.
What were the two?
Neo?
Yeah,
like Neo from the Matrix.
Yeah,
and
IOTA.
IOTA, yes, IOTA. It's the latter is quantum proof. So you should definitely check that out.
Oh, interesting. And 3D printing, there's a lot going off there, where in the future there'll be 15 years or so from now, 3D printing will be extremely fast, just like printing today on paper is very, very fast. And there's talk about these like open source online blueprints that people can download, where they can download the blueprint to create a microphone, create an organ, create a mouse for the computer or a pen or things like that, and they just print it in the machine. And for now, they might take printing overnight, but in the future, it'll be moments, it'll be a minute or something to print out a pen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are new technologies, new techniques, and new printers going out in the market. Some are commercials, some other are still on development. But I believe that this technology is going to be like the internet from the 90s.
Yes.
I think it's the internet, crypto coins, and the 3D printing. It's going to be like the biggest innovation with the biggest opportunities.
What was the first one again?
The internet in the 90s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. And tell me about this Lapson.com, where you're like Amazon, but of Mexico.
Yeah, it's a good project. We're creating the biggest marketplace in Mexico, and we try to have competitive prices, good client service, and we're trying to also have different methodologies to stand out against competitors.
Oh yeah, cool, interesting. So, all right. So, what is the best way for the audience to get in touch with you as we wrap up this podcast?
Yeah, of course. You can hook me up on Twitter. It's Quintanilla, Quintanilla HR. Or also, all of my social platforms are in my profile in onename.com. onename.com/Quintanilla. There is my Twitter, my Facebook account, and also you can find me on Steemit as Quintanilla.
Okay. All right. Well, Alberto, it was great having you on the show. Some really cool conversations, some really cool concepts. Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's good. That's great. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you haven't already, click on the subscribe button on YouTube. Click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it for the latest uploads. And also, if you're listening to this on Steemit, follow me, comment any questions or queries, give it an upvote, because there is way more podcasts, way more videos to come. Because this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So go out there today and do something remarkable. How cool is that?